Paying for sex made it feel where this was a business transaction. I wasn't really cheating on my ex-wife. I wasn't going to leave my ex-wife. I was with her. We were married, but I didn't really want her. I wanted my needs met. I wanted to be wanted. I wanted to be desired, but I don't want to date anyone. So paying for sex made it in my brain that I could say that this was okay. It allowed me to justify it. I was a functioning cocaine and alcoholic addict. And so one of the things that I would do is I thrived on chaos. And addicts, we thrive on chaos. I was always with my wife, and I would always try to find ways to cheat on her with people that would do either drink with me or do cocaine with me. I like to be enabled as an addict. I wanted to be around those that would enable me and allow me to increase my dopamine through sex, whatever it was, to have this whole different side of me that I didn't have with my ex-wife. So anyone that I would run across, it was always kind of a running joke with them. Like, hey, who do you know that likes to hook up? And I would get people who would just randomly tell me people. I had a friend of mine that was a wholesaler. He was like, oh, hit my girl's cousin up. She's a freak. Okay, cool. She likes to drink. Dude, I'm down. Her name was Anna, and her and I started talking. We ended up going out, and she liked to drink. She wasn't really into cocaine. So we only went out once. We had sex, got super drunk, and went back home. But again, I didn't feel like I cheated because, I'm not dating people. I'm looking for sugar daddy experiences. That's what I actually hit it all under. I was making a lot of money as a general manager's RV dealership. My personal life was fine. I had this whole secret hidden life that was more important to me. This was me using, this was my escape. This was my skeletons in my closet. This was how I dealt with my trauma and everything I'd been through. And it got worse because I didn't really want to be married. And I used to hit up people all the time with like, hey, who do you know that's looking for a sugar daddy? I was an addict. I was big. Like I was overweight at the time, but I knew I had money. I had a lot of cocaine, drank a ton. Like who wants to party? And I will never forget my ex-wife had this friend. Her name was Chandra. And Chandra was like, hey, the new receptionist at Dennis Dillon started. Her name's Casey. You should, hit her up. I'm friends with her. Maybe she's down to do this. I was like, all right. And next thing you know, we start Snapchatting back and forth. And you get dopamine off of this. You start to get obsessed with this. Addicts were very obsessive people. I was obsessed with alcohol and cocaine. And if I could find something almost that I was also very obsessed with that could distract me from those, it was this weird way that I could kind of try and balance it all out. And I just wouldn't lose myself to one. This is how sick we are as addicts and why I share. Because this truly will show you, this makes no sense, but to an addict who is sick, this makes all the sense in the world. And that's where we lose ourselves to substances. So I remember texting Casey back and forth, and she was 19 at the time. And I was like 34, 35 at the time. And I was like, hey, have you ever been like a sugar baby before? Like, I'd love to like hook you up. Like, just tell me like gifts and stuff that you want, and I'll hook you up. All I'm looking for is somebody to have sex with. I like to, we can get a hotel room. I like to do blow. We can do some cocaine together. We'll drink, have sex for a couple hours, and we'll call it even. And she was like, okay, I'm down for that. And it was amazing how you can find very vulnerable people that are down for that. That's the unfortunate thing, and a lot of people get taken advantage of this. And in my way, I could justify that it was okay because here I'm buying her very expensive stuff that she wanted. So I don't feel guilty. This is a business transaction. I'm not really cheating on my wife. If you would have asked me at the time if I was cheating on my ex-wife, I would have said no. Because it was a business transaction. I am getting something out of this. And that was my way I could justify it and sleep just fine. And I could hide all this. And I knew that I could control the situation because it was controlled with money, and money is very controlling. So I remember I would, Venmo her money every now and then, or we'd Snapchat a ton, and she'd start sending me nudes, and we started talking more. And finally I was like, all right, I want to meet you. And so ended up going over to Dennis Dillon RV with my ex-wife's cousin, who that's a whole other story. And I remember they went out back, and I ended up meeting up with her at Dennis Dillon RV, and we ended up having sex. I was getting blown up by my ex-wife, though, because she's like, where are you at? I told her I'd be done in a few. So I was like, hey, we got to end this real quick. But hey, let's meet up tonight and let's drink. And she was like, okay, I'm down. Man, I made excuses and lied to my ex-wife, and I had to go handle stuff at work. As addicts, if you live with an addict and we have to go handle stuff with this friend. Like they got themselves into some stuff, man. They're in deep, dude. We got to help them. If we're going on that kind of a conversation, we're using, we're drinking, we're getting away from you to ruin ourselves. That was always my excuse, though. It's like, hey, I got to go help out a friend. I got to go do this. I have to go help other people. You stay here. I end up picking her up after work. We go down to Huntington Beach, and I end up having sex with her in the parking lot at Huntington Beach, right by the pier, in the back of my truck. My truck had a big back seat area. Moved the seats forward. We went in the back, and we end up having sex. And we're drinking Fireball out of the bottle. There's a Walgreens there, and I bought a fifth of Fireball. And I was like, dude, if you're down for doing this, like, and you're down, and she was like, yeah, she tell me how much you love to do cocaine. You're telling me everything that I wanted to hear of like, okay, this is an enabler. Like I would surround myself, and I had myself to the point that I was surrounded by a lot of women because I had an anxious attachment style. I didn't realize that until a lot later on that I needed a lot of validation from women. I couldn't validate myself. I didn't find validation in myself. I didn't know how to love myself. So I needed others to essentially do that for me. Women were the way that I did it. Through sex was a way that I did it. It made me feel good. Now, if you can enable me and we do drugs together, now I don't necessarily feel like the bad guy. I don't feel like a junkie. Everyone was used by me. And that's the sick part of like, I look back of like how bad of a person I was. And I'm very, like, nobody should do this stuff to others like, and use others like we do as an addict, like I did as an addict. Because it was, I would use you now to not feel like a junkie. I mean, we're in a hotel room doing coke and just drinking, but I'm not a junkie. It was always constantly in my head, like I'm not really addicted to this. I'm not a junkie. I'm just doing this because she kind of wants to do it. Like, it was amazing these excuses and these lies that I would come up with. But I was trying to solve all these problems without therapy. This was the ultimate sickness of self-medication. I'm trying to feel all this validation and love from others because I can't love myself. I hate my marriage. I hate my life. I hate everything. I was the most depressed I'd ever been. So I'm trying to fill it with all of this. I'm drinking. I lost a wife to suicide. I'm dealing with all that trauma, just trying to escape those thoughts. And I made it last for about a year. And I mean, there was a period in time that I was having sex with 6, 7 different women, all involved alcohol and drugs, and pushing things to the most extreme so that I would constantly be in a flight or fight mode out of the chaos that I created. I couldn't deal with calm. And one of the hardest things, even when I got sober, was to realize how to handle being in a calm environment without chaos, without craziness in a sense, and without destroying things. That was one of the most difficult parts of getting sober, was going, how do I actually deal with this calm? I didn't know life like that. And my brain became so wired that it had to be chaos because I found comfort in it. Because chaos was so distracting. It was constantly getting drugs, drinking, skipping out and going to the bar, drinking while I'm driving, I had a saleswoman, and I would get her coke and she'd be doing coke and I would just be having sex with her while she's doing lines. I mean, that's the stuff I would come up with. And the only reason I remember a lot of this stuff is because, again, I recorded a lot of it. I would be so gone that I'm like, did this really actually happen? And I'd be like looking at the videos the next day going, man, that's really crazy that happened. I mean, that was my life. Like I didn't live in the moment. I didn't want to live at all. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I didn't want to live at all. And so if I did have to live, I'm not going to be here. And I wasn't here. I wasn't present. I ran and ran and ran and ran and ran. And that's unfortunately how I used so many people. Use them as my excuses. And it's amazing how many people I've talked to that are addicts that pay for sex. Because if you pay, you don't, as a guy in a relationship, you don't feel guilty. You feel this is a business transaction. You like logically try to like wash your hands of not feeling bad about it. And it subconsciously, it messes you up. Like, and it eats at you. Like there's a little part of you that eats at you and you're like, I shouldn't be doing this. But then your brain kind of like talks you back out of it again. And that's a sickness of addiction, man. I will say this, like, that's why I think I'm very harsh when people are like, well, I'm living with an addict, or my husband's an addict, or wife's an addict. What should I do? And I'm like, dude, leave them. Like, get to therapy, heal your trauma, work through all the stuff that we've done to you as an addict. Let them hit rock bottom. Let them fight for themselves because they got to want to get sober. You're not going to force them into sobriety. And it's brutal, man. It's hard. And it's hard when it's somebody that you love. And I get it. We as an addict don't love you. We love a substance. We love chasing this feeling that we think is what we would need and what we want because it's hijacked our brain. There is no logic in addiction. This is all pure insanity and impulse. And that's why I share. I mean, I share for educational purposes only. Hopefully that somebody grasps some understanding of what they're looking for in addiction, or maybe somebody to relate to and go, yeah, I don't want to live that way anymore. Because people like will ask me, do I miss it? No. I have an amazing house. I have an amazing business. I have an amazing family. Like, I thrive on what I have now. Like, my biggest addiction now is like collecting magic cards. I love my life and I will fight for this. But at the time, I didn't think I deserved a life like this as an addict. I didn't think I'd ever get a life like it's never crossed my mind. And when it comes to getting sober, man, just there is no right or wrong way. We always look for that magic answer because if we can't find the magic answer, I guess we can't get sober. It's not for us. I mean, that was one of the ways I enabled myself and self-sabotage myself. You just find what works for you, though, man. I wish I would have went to rehab. Rehab's a huge one. You can go to inpatient treatment or outpatient treatment. Download Sunflower Sober. I always have Sunflower Sober tagged in the bio and the write-up down below. Download the app, Sunflower Sober. Amazing 24-hour support. There's a great community there. There are lots of tools to help you get sober. Go to an AA meeting, an NA meeting, an Al-Anon meeting. Go to all the different meetings out there. There's a lot of meetings out there, man, and submerge yourself in this. Like, you have to fight for it. Going to a doctor, a therapist, psychiatrist, EMDR therapy is amazing. Getting on the right medication is amazing. But fight and don't give up. For the one fighting through, I believe in you. I believe in you because there's a time I never thought I'd get sober, and I did. And you can too if you want it.